Hello and welcome. Today, we're diving into something we all deal with every single day, but maybe don't think about too much. The intelligence, or let's be honest, the lack of intelligence in the buildings where we live and work. I mean, seriously, think about your office for a second. It's supposed to be this modern space, right? But how often does it feel like you're actually fighting against it? From the temperature to the lights, it can be this constant, low-key battle that just shouldn't be a thing anymore. You know exactly what I'm talking about. One conference room is a total freezer, while the one next door feels like a sauna. You see entire floors lit up bright as day at midnight. And oh, don't even get me started on trying to get an elevator during the lunch rush. It all just feels so clunky and incredibly wasteful. Okay, but what if we could just flip that whole script? What if our buildings weren't just these passive shells of concrete and steel, but were actually active, living environments that respond to us? Well, that is the big promise of what we call intelligent buildings. So what does that actually mean, intelligent building? The main idea here is that we're moving way beyond simple automation, like a basic light timer. We are talking about creating a building that works like a single, living, breathing system. And that word, integrated, is absolutely crucial. This isn't about just having a few smart gadgets sprinkled here and there. Nope. It's about a single, unified system where every component works together to make the building more efficient, more comfortable, and a whole lot safer. Probably the best way to wrap your head around this is to stop thinking of a building as a machine and start thinking of it like a living organism, kind of like the human body. It's got all these different parts that have to work together for one common goal. All right, so let's run with that human body analogy. Let's do a little dissection and look at the anatomy of an intelligent building. It really breaks down into a few core parts that pretty much mirror our own biological systems. So you've got the senses, the muscles, the nervous system, and of course, the brain. When all four of these are working in perfect harmony, that's where the magic really starts to happen. So let's break down each one. First up, we've got the sensors. In a building, this means thousands of sensors that are constantly gathering data. They're basically the eyes and ears of the building, always aware of what's happening inside and out. We're talking about things like passive infrared sensors, or PIR sensors, that know when someone walks into a room. You've got lux meters measuring how much daylight is coming in, CO2 sensors checking the air quality, and smart thermostats tracking the temperature. All of them are constantly sending information back to the brain. Okay, next up, the muscles. We call these actuators. So if the sensors are gathering all the information, the actuators are the parts that actually do something. They get commands from the brain and then make a physical change in the environment. So what does that look like? Well, think about motorized blinds that automatically adjust to block the afternoon sun, or the VAV boxes, that's variable air volume, in your ceiling that control how much air flows into your little zone, or the LED drivers that dim the lights, even fire dampers that slam shut in an emergency. Those are the muscles. So how do the senses talk to the muscles? Well, they use the nervous system. This is the building's connectivity backbone. It's this whole network running on special languages. We call them protocols, like BACnet or LawnWorks, and now newer wireless tech like Wi-Fi 6 that lets all these different gadgets talk to each other instantly. And finally, the piece that ties it all together, the brain. This is the Building Management System, or BMS. Sometimes you'll hear it called a Building Automation System, a BAS. This is the central command. It takes all that data from the senses, analyzes it, and then tells the muscles what to do. This right here is where the intelligence really lives. Okay, so we've got the basic anatomy down, the senses, muscles, nerves, brain. But what does all this intelligence actually look like when you're just trying to get through your workday? Let's check out how these systems come together in the real world. Let's start with something we all love to hate, elevators. In a, dumb building, we all just cram into the lobby, hit the up button, and then pile into the first car that shows up, stopping on like 10 different floors. An intelligent building uses something called destination control. You pick your floor before you get in, and the system assigns you an elevator with other people going to the same area. It is so much faster, way more organized, and it saves a surprising amount of energy. All right, pop quiz for you. You hear this term a lot when people talk about smart lighting. What exactly is daylight harvesting? The answer is, it's a system where the light sensors, the building's senses, are constantly measuring how much sunlight is pouring through the windows. The building's brain takes that info and tells the LED drivers, the muscles, to dim the artificial lights down. I mean, why pay to light a room that the sun is already lighting for free? It's so simple, but so incredibly effective. And you see this same logic everywhere. You've got predictive HVAC systems that learn your company's calendar and start pre-cooling a big conference room 15 minutes before a meeting starts. Or smart security that ties facial recognition into the fire safety system, so if there's an emergency, it knows exactly who is where and can unlock the safest exit routes for them. So where do we go from here? If this is what buildings are doing today, what's on the horizon? Well, the next really big leap is something called the digital twin. See, right now, even our smartest buildings are mostly just reactive. They operate on real-time data. They see what's happening in this very moment and respond. A digital twin, that adds a whole new dimension, prediction. By making a perfect one-to-one virtual copy of the building and feeding it live data, we can run simulations and start to accurately predict what's going to happen. And this quote just perfectly captures the power of that idea. We're talking about being able to predict when a crucial water pump might fail weeks before it actually breaks down, or spotting where energy is being wasted right now instead of finding out a month later when you get a massive utility bill. It's a total game changer. So when you put it all together, what's the big takeaway here? Why should any of us really care that our office buildings are getting smarter? Well, it really boils down to this perfect win-win-win scenario. For us, the people inside, it means spaces that are way more comfortable, safer, and just better to be in. For the building owners, it means huge efficiency gains and lower operating costs. And for the planet, it's a massive step towards sustainability, helping to cut down the enormous energy waste our cities produce. So the spaces we spend our lives in are evolving. They're going from being these passive boxes to being active partners in our day. They're growing senses, muscles, and a brain, which leaves us with a really exciting question. What should we teach them to do next? Thanks so much for joining me.